When fiber leads, the future follows. Well, Gary, congratulations on that great new tagline. Why don't you tell us in a word or two what that means? We'll have a conversation.
Well, absolutely. We've actually evolved. We had been talking about if it's not fiber, it's not broadband. And now we're really more evolved into what is the future. When you think about the future of education, the metaverse, quantum networking, all this future is enabled by fiber. So if we can get fiber to every American, we can be able to make sure that that future follows. Everybody can enjoy the same benefits, the same equality and equity, and really be able to see this kind of future for generations to come.
And speaking of generations, my gosh, this is the biggest show ever, right? 4,000 attendees, I think I heard.
In the last 3 years, we started with a record 2,000 2 years ago. We had 3,000 attendees last year, and we're at 4,000 this year. So we're trying to have measured growth, but we're also really focused on quality of experience. We want to make sure that this event not only is bringing together our industry to make a difference, to really think about networking, but also about making sure that everybody kind of comes together as a unit, as an industry. We're at a special moment. What you see is like we had a C-suite forum earlier today focused on the C-levels of all of the companies that are making this happen. You saw the keynote. We invested a lot more in AV and had really epic keynotes. And then even looking at our booth and at the show, we were able to add 73 more companies this year, and then just really trying to elevate that whole experience.
Well, and it's incredible. I haven't seen a show floor this big in a long time for this kind of industry.
We had kind of a dying industry, and now after the pandemic, just seeing how important, and you see the administration is really putting the top priority on making sure that we're building infrastructure. And that was what failed before, because we were really looking at just connecting people and worried about minimum speeds. But now when you start really building critical infrastructure, you're really building the future for generations.
And that was mentioned by the AT&T official today about how this is something that's built for a 100-year type of infrastructure.
Chris Sambart, the president of AT&T, was one of our keynotes this morning. He did a fantastic job, but really we had a great copper network for a century, 5 nines reliability. It was great. We're in a new era now. We're going gigabits to 10 gigabits to terabits. The paradigm shift that we're seeing now is just phenomenal.
The other thing that impressed me about the keynotes is you brought some folks in from the federal government to hear what your members' concerns, whether it's permitting or equity, how do you get it out there?
So you might have seen Eric Badel, the permitting czar. He was on Fire for Breakfast this morning. He was on the main stage. He was in our C-suite forum. Permitting is very top of mind because we have to be able to accelerate broadband availability, and so we have to streamline permitting and be able to get this job done. Also, we had NTI, we have the FCC, we have the White House, and we want to make sure that it's a dialogue, right? And so that's really what we're about here at this conference.
Well, and I like the comments that Angela Bennett made from NTIA about they were stronger together, but also give a little grace because this isn't easy.
Angela's fantastic. Right now, we're focused on the access, get everybody connected. For us to be successful, we have to make sure it's affordable and people have to adopt it. It's not going to be good enough just to get people connected. We really got to make sure that everybody's able to take advantage of this so they can grow GDP, be able to get those jobs. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Chris said this morning from that town in Kentucky, they said the average income for someone that's not connected to broadband was $15 an hour. And the average income for someone connected to broadband was $43 an hour. And that's just one example of being able to see the multiplying effect of broadband on economic development.
Yeah, and that project, as I recall, a big part of that was working with the community. And that seems to be a theme I've heard over and over at this conference, of the working together, communities and the companies.
That was the big shift about 3 years ago. Tony Thomas, the CEO of Windstream, was one of our keynote speakers. And I expected him to want to talk about all the fiber, everything they're going to do. But what he wanted to do was talk about public-private partnerships and working with communities. And that was kind of the first big indicator as you start seeing the incumbents to say, how can we work with communities, do what communities do, be a partner with them. And so we've seen a lot more focus on what's right for each community.
And I think Rob Shima yesterday mentioned the idea of patient capital. A lot of the capital that's coming in, it has a little longer time frame.
Well, absolutely. We're still working through ARPA money. We got Treasury money still there. We had RUS here today. They're talking about, they just released, I think, $600 million or something like that. So there's a lot of money that we have to consume even before we get to BEAD. So this money's not going to be all consumed instantly, which is good because it gets kind of a smoothing effect. Because one of the big I call it the long pole of the tent, would be workforce development. And that's why FBA has put such a huge effort on trying to get our fiber optic technician training available in all the community colleges across the nation in every state and territory.
Yeah, you continue to beat the drum for training and making sure the workforce is ready, right?
One of the things I talked about this morning is speed is our friend. We have to accelerate the availability of fiber, and anything, whether it's permitting or locates or lack of workforce, these things are going to slow a project down. And the project slows down, the costs go up, and cost of capital going up. All these things, delay is our enemy. And so we got to be able to look at, find all the snakes and be able to get these things streamlined and get this fiber accelerated.
Well, and your efforts are not going unnoticed. You were kind of surprised this morning by an award you received, the Chairman's Award, right?
Those guys call it sneaky devils. So we had John Green from New Lisbon was supposed to be the award recipient of the Chairman's Award, and John was in on it. And so they had done fake press releases. They were all ready. And I, have the utmost respect for John. So I was so excited for him to come get this award. And then they flipped it on me. And so it feels a little strange to get an award at my own conference, but I'm really appreciative of the staff and our board, and especially JJ, our chairman. So they're the great team we have.
Well, it's well deserved, and congratulations on the award and for this great conference.
Well, Ken, thanks for being here. I've got such great feedback. It's just an amazing experience here, and it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Gary.
All right, thanks, Ken. We'll see you.